What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about a different topic, something a little quite unique. The irony is that I've actually tried to record this video multiple times. But for some reason, every time I try to record it, something happens. So hopefully I'll be able to get it done this time around. I've actually been busy with a lot of stuff. But what I want to talk about is sort of this growing trend that I have been seeing in sort of the social media space, the online space. And this is a trend in regards to Black women, right? And what I mean is this, right? If you go on YouTube, Twitter, any kind of major social media platform, right? And let's say you type in Black men and Black women, right? If you type in Black men, you'll have, I will say, a variety of videos, right? Some about basketball, some about football, some about police brutality. It will have very much variety. But if you type Black women on the search bar, what you'll be shown is this plethora tsunami of just content after content after content of Black women being bashed. And of course, when you look into these videos, right, typically what you will see, of course, is you will see some non-Black people, but mainly you will see Black men. Of course, what they will say is, well, the reason we're talking about Black women is because we're trying to, talk about our disagreements, the issues we may have, and that's fine, right? Every group of men have a right to talk about the issues they have with women, right? Same thing with Black women, right? Black women talk Black men, that's fine. I think the problem, what's happened, by the way, this not just happened in America, this happening globally. Because if you look, for example, at the UK, there are a lot of Black African men, Black Caribbean men in the UK who bash Black women in the UK all the time, right? You look at South Africa, so it's a global phenomenon. It's like wherever Black people or wherever you go, where Black people are the minority population, you will see a situation where Black men are bashing Black women. Whether it's in Australia, New Zealand, Europe, name a place, right? But look, I have no problem with a group of men addressing the issues that they may have with a female counterpart. The problem is that what this has become, it's no longer about Black men talking about the issues they may have. It has become just outright hatred. When you listen to, and I guess, I'm partially guilty of this too, because once again, I was a part of the Black manosphere, right? But for me, I never got this far. Because when you listen to some of this content, it's almost like the hatred that's being spewed out. You have to ask yourself, like, dude, do you even like Black women, right? That's a question to ask yourself, right? And when you listen to some of these videos, one thing I keep telling these men is, look, I understand that you may have some deep emotions in regards to Black women, but as a Black man, it is not good for you to publicly attack your women like this. Because what this does, it opens the doors for other groups of people to come at you. And what you need to understand is that when other groups of people attack your women, they're attacking you too. There is no separation. And for some reason, Black men don't understand it. In fact, when I was recently, right, I was on the site Twitter, right? And of course, I know that Twitter essentially got renamed to X, right? And on Twitter, I came across this video of an Arab man that was, the video was going viral. It was an Arab dude in the Middle East, I believe the UAE. And the title of the video was, "Why Men Don't Date Black Women," right? And I'm just like, why is an Arab in the Middle East, in the UAE, talking about Black women? And I had to, of course, I put a video, right? He was about, they have the attitude, or this, or that, or that, or this. And of course, to provide context here, what people also need to understand is that, there are a lot of Black Africans that do immigrate to the UAE, that do immigrate to the Middle East. And Black African women that tend to go to the Middle East or tend to go to the UAE or Qatar or whatever, right? They are perceived as prostitutes. And the reason, because a lot of them, when they do get there, because of discrimination, a lot of times they will lose their jobs or some issues with the passport, and they will end up in prostitution. And so Black African women do have this reputation of prostitution, of being prostitutes in the Middle East. So what you have is this, right? You have on one hand the fact that because Black Americans live in the United States, they have become the face of Black people globally. So all of the bad stereotypes, all of the attacks that Black Americans face here gets essentially put on Black people globally, wherever you go, right? It doesn't matter if you're a Black guy in Zimbabwe going to China. They're gonna view you from the same lens as a Black American they saw through American media, okay? So you have that in place. Then on top of that, you have the fact a lot of the Black diaspora are dealing with colonialism, colonization, coming from poor countries. So, for example, a Black American will go to Japan, right? Although they may get treated badly, they will get treated better compared to a Black African. Because although the Black American is Black, they at least have the American passport, right? The Black African, they have all the stereotypes of being at the bottom of the hierarchy, and they don't have any Western passport. So it's even worse. So when I talk about, Black men bashing Black women, this is a global thing now. Because I'm seeing Nigerian men talk Black women. I'm seeing Black men in the UK talking about Black women. I'm seeing Black men. I'm seeing it everywhere. And I think what I'm trying to tell Black men is this. The reason why you're seeing guys, an Arab dude in the Middle East that feels comfortable talking about Black women as a whole globally is because you open that door. And here's what you guys need to understand. When other groups of men attack your women, they're attacking you too. And this is something I had to learn the hard way. The hard way. Okay? Because I'm going to give you an example. Right? I'm going to give you actually two examples. When I was still in the Black manosphere, there was a situation that happened that caught a lot of attention, right? And the situation that happened essentially was that Kevin Samuels went on Fresh and Fit, right? And this is when Kevin Samuels was still really blowing up, right? He went on Fresh and Fit, and Rollo Tomassi was there. Dude, there was a white girl there, and Rollo Tomassi was trying to get the white girl to kind of hop off the whole white feminism thing, right? And they weren't able to convince her. Kevin Samuels comes to the door. Within a couple of minutes, he is able to convince essentially he's able to check the white girl. Just like that, right? Now, you would think that because, we're all a part of the manosphere, we're all a part, right? You would think that white men will be happy, right? Wrong. For the next couple of days, white men were angry. Think about this. White men in the manosphere were angry, right, that Kevin Samuels checked the white girl even though they could not. And the reason why I'm bringing up because it's to show that, look, even within the manosphere space, where we're all supposed to be men, other groups of men understand that, hey, we may be friends, we may be together on some issues, but at the end of the day, you're not a part of my community. That's still a white woman. And as a white man, I'm not going to, even though I don't agree with her feminism, even though I don't agree with her stuff, guess what? She is still white. And you as a Black dude, although you may be my ally, I will not let you talk to my woman publicly. And I said, the Black manosphere, of course, said it was racist. I'm like, yeah, you can say it, but I'm like, what these white guys did was actually correct. Because what they essentially told the Black men is, look, we may have issues with our women, but they're still our women. We're not going to let you come in here and check them. And I feel like Black men, for some reason, don't understand this concept, right? Other groups of men understand they may have the issue with their own women, but they're not going to let another group of men come in to check their own women. Because once again, if you let another group of men check your women, they're also checking you. Because they're essentially saying, hey, I could check your woman, but you could not. That's the reason why other groups of men, right? Look, I'm going to give an example. Look at South Korea. Look at China. There's an entire feminist way over there. But you know that despite all the complaints that South Korean men and Chinese men have, online about the women being feminists, right? There's an entire feminist backlash South Korea. They will never, ever, ever allow you to disparage South Korean women. Okay? They will never allow you to do this publicly. And I feel like for some reason, black men don't understand this. And by the way, this was very evident during the Just Pearly Things conversation. The reason, in my opinion, right, I was already gone out of the black manosphere, but I feel like what really broke the camel's back was how black men reacted to Just Pearly Things. When Just Pearly Things brought on Nick Fuentes, and she made fun of black Americans, she made fun of black Africans, she made fun of black people globally, really. She essentially made fun of slavery when it came to black America. She did all these things, and yet you still had black men in the manosphere that were defending her. They were defending her to attack black women. I was like, what? I said, hell to this. I said, wait. Let me get this straight. And by the way, I have to call out BGS because BGS was doing it too. Mubia Sin Ali. I was like, wait a minute. You guys are telling me that a white woman can attack your people, talk about, colored people time, talk about slavery, talk about literally insult your people. And you will essentially allow her to do that and instead attack your own women? Not only will you defend her attacking your people, you're going to attack black women instead? See, that's when I realized I was done. I said, white men, other groups of men will never let this happen. White men may have all kinds of problems they have with white feminism, but I can bet you, if you start talking about white people, they'll get on code. They will get on code against your ass. It's not going to matter what issue they have white women, right? They will get on code. South Korean men may have issues with their South Korean being feminists, right? But the moment you speak about South Koreans, they get on code. But you telling me white people, another group of people can talk about black people and black men will not just side with them, but will throw black on the bus. And I think I told BJ, I said, look, this is going to destroy black men because what this will show to a lot of people is that this entire time, this was never about you guys trying to, showcase your complaints. This is just about you guys hating your women. What this will show us is that you guys just simply hate your women to such an extent that you're willing to let other groups of people attack. I said, this is going to show you. And lo and behold, a couple of months after just for this conversation, we saw what's happening, right? A lot of folks turned the black manosphere, and the black manosphere has kind of been declined. The black manosphere has been declined because you lost so much credibility because now you've confirmed that it was never really about you just trying to, talk about black male issue. A lot of it was just about getting revenge on black women to a point in which you wanted to throw your own on the bus. And by the way, this is not just in America, right? I'm seeing this behavior globally. Okay? Whether it's quote unquote black men in the UK who will talk about how, I'm not dating a black woman, right? Whether, it's black men in Europe, black men in Australia. Global, I see this behavior globally. Okay? And the reason why this gets me mad is that black men globally will do this until they end up like Jonathan Majors. Okay? And I'm going to give you a great example. Jonathan Majors, for those of you, he was the guy that was chosen to be the face of Kang, right? And for those who don't know, right, Kang is supposed to be the sort of new main villain villain of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's who Kang is supposed to be, right? And Jonathan Major was selected for this role. Him and Michael B. Jordan were blowing up, right? And recently, he of course he was with a white girl, right? His white girlfriend, ex-white girlfriend, accused him of allegations, right? And I swear to God, the white people turned on him so fast, it was crazy. He got canceled. They sort of break. And it's like, the crazy part is this, right? There was a situation earlier on where you had Dana White right, who I believe is the owner of USC, who slapped his white wife on camera. And although Dana White slapped his white wife on camera, right, they essentially protected him. Right, you had journalists saying that, hey, we were told to not write anything about Dana White. He faced no charges. He faced no consequences. He essentially got away with it. And you had white women, white feminists say, oh, well, I don't believe in cancel culture. Don't cancel Dana White. Jonathan Majors gets only a single allegation. They're already canceling him. He's getting charged. And I'm like, what? And it's like, and even now that you have evidence showing that the allegation is not true, now they're trying to pull up other shit on him. So in other words, they originally tried to get him on the allegation from his ex-white girlfriend, right? Now that it's not looking so good, they're now trying to find other dirt to throw at him. I'm like, I just saw an article today saying that, well, you know, will Loki season 2 survive Jonathan Majors? And I was like, what? It's like, this is what happens. This is what happens to black men, right? When you allow other groups of people when you fail to understand that you are not separate from your female counterpart. Because a lot of these guys believe, well, you know, we're a separate group. They'll go out here, get with a non-black woman, and the moment something goes wrong, they're reminded quick how who they are, right? But I feel like black men don't understand, in my opinion, just how damaging, just how extreme this content is, because how damaging it will be, not just for black women, but for black people, sure, and for them too, right? This reminds me of a situation. I'm gonna give us an example, right? When I was in high school, I worked at FedEx. And FedEx, it was just filled with a bunch of Hispanics, very few black people, actually. And one thing that commonly happened in FedEx was that, I don't know what it was, but Hispanic men in FedEx felt very comfortable, you know, talking to me about how they did not like dating black women. And by the way, guys, I never talked about black people or when I was in FedEx at all. I will talk about maybe anime or Marvel, but never really about black people. But they just found it upon themselves to bring it up, right? And one behavior that I kept noticing when it came to the Hispanic males, right, was that they will constantly talk about how they don't like black women, the hair, the weave, and I'm just like, why are you telling me this, right? And I remember this once interaction in which there was this Hispanic dude. He was telling me how he was dating this black woman from West Africa, and how he was essentially simply using her for sex. And then when he was done using her for sex, he essentially went and got with a non-black woman, right? And I'm like, okay, why are you telling me this, right? And he looked at me and said, oh, because she's one of your peoples. And I was just, what? He looked at me and he said, oh, because she's one of your peoples. So this Hispanic dude is telling me at work, I was dealing with this black woman from West Africa. I was running through her, dicking her down. I was using her for sex, okay? And when I was done using her for sex, I threw her to the side. I went and got a non-black female. And when I asked him, why are you telling me? He said, she's one of your peoples. Essentially, it didn't matter, right, where she was or what she was doing. Because I was a black dude and she was a black woman, the assumption was, this is your female counterpart. And what this told me, right, is that when non-black men interact with black men, they understand that because black men are men, right, there's always this fear of violence. So if they're trying to get at you, you know, they may not always, they can't just say, oh, black men are this, black men are that, because black men will put hands on them. So what they will do is, to try and get at black men, they will use your women as a proxy. So instead of them saying, oh, black men are shit, they'll say, well, black women are shit, right? Well, here's the thing, though. If they're saying that your female counterpart is shit or trash, what does that say about you, right? And I remember how during that interaction, I kind of wanted to see how he'll react. So I lied to him, right? This is not true because during the time I was not dealing with anyone, but I told him that, hey, I'm dealing with a Spanish chick right now. It was a lie because I wasn't dealing with anyone, right? But the reason why I told him that I was dealing with Spanish is because I wanted to see his reaction. I was like, hey, yeah, man, I'm dealing with Spanish chick, right? I'm dealing with a Spanish girl. And I noticed the moment I said that, he got quiet and he changed the subject. I said, oh my God. So let me get this straight. You were talking about black women to me for almost a couple hours now, right? Talking about how, she's your people's. In other words, this is your female counterpart. The moment I talk about Hispanic women once, you stop talking to me. And that's when I realized the game that's being played. And how a lot of black men don't understand. Look, other groups of men have their issues with the women, right? Other groups of men will talk about their issues behind closed door. But here's the issue. They will never let you talk about them. Yeah, they'll talk about black women with you all day. But the moment you bring up a white woman, the moment you bring up a Hispanic woman, they'll check you there. And I feel like because black men have not done the same thing, this is the reason why we have guys who are Arabs, white dudes, feeling so comfortable to say all this horrific stuff about black women online. And black men don't understand how detrimental this is. Why is it that when it comes to black men, right, it is so hard for black men to understand, right, and comprehend the dangers of them just bashing the women open like this, right? And what I came to realize that the reason is because black men and black women face colorism differently. And folks are going to tell me, Hammer, what the fuck are you talking about? Think about this, right? Because white people are at the top of the hierarchy, right? It also means that the white phenotype is also at the top of the hierarchy, right? And so what this essentially means is that because white phenotype is on the hierarchy, that means that black people by default are going to be viewed at the bottom, okay? Because we are literally the opposites when it comes to the white phenotype. Like, you're not going to get around. There's no getting around that, right? And so therefore, right, when you look at black men and black women, right, because black people are sitting at the bottom of the hierarchy globally, black men and black women, however, are affected in different ways, right? The way black women are affected is that their beauty is fundamentally devalued. And the reason why this is a big deal is because, once again, when it comes to women, right, the biggest assets that a woman has is her beauty, her ability to access resources, right? Because women will tell you this all the time, right? They will tell you all the time, which is that pretty privilege, right? Now, what does pretty privilege mean? The whole idea of pretty privilege is that women understand that the more attractive you are, or the more attractive society views you as, the more benefits you get. It's easier for you to gain access to resources. It's easier for you to get better treatment. And so what that means is that if a woman is not able to have her beauty validated, this affects her in a horrific way because she's not able. It makes it very difficult, right, for her to really compete because that's the only card she has to play. Now, obviously having personality and so that's important, but for women, beauty is the number one thing. And so, if black people are really the bottom of the hierarchy and our features are really the bottom of the hierarchy, this means that black women essentially end up bearing the brunt of colorism, right? Because black women only have one card to play, which is beauty. Black men, because they're males, have multiple cards to play. And so what that means is that a black woman can essentially be super nice, gorgeous, or whatever. She could literally be perfect. But because she has phenotype, that is viewed as being unattractive because, once again, black people being ranked at the bottom means that our phenotype is ranked at the bottom. So everywhere a black woman goes, it doesn't matter how good she is, because she has black phenotype, she is going to be ranked as being lower compared to an average non-black woman. We see this all the time. You will see a gorgeous black female, right? Just gorgeous, right? But when it's time for ranking, the average white girl, the average Hispanic girl, the average non-black girl gets rated higher. Why? Because although the black female is gorgeous, because she has black phenotype, and black people's phenotype is viewed at the bottom globally, she essentially, her beauty does not get recognized. And as a woman, because women only have their beauty to play, this hurts them in a horrific, really hurts them really badly. Not only does that mean, first of all, it reduces their ability to essentially date out in major numbers, because non-black men are not going to recognize the beauty. It reduces their ability to have access to resources, because once again, if black women's phenotype is being viewed as unattractive, wealthy men in general are not going to really pursue like that, right? And it essentially creates a situation in which black women get treated worse. If you are viewed as a group of women that's quote unquote the least attractive because you have black phenotype, you're going to be treated that way. And I think this is the reason why I believe that black women, get attacked the way they do, because once again, because black people and our phenotype is ranked at the bottom, it essentially means that black women's beauty is never recognized. And so it's easy for other groups of people to attack them in a way that will not go after a white and Hispanic chick. Okay? This is why I think black women are so aware and are so self-conscious when it comes to, in my opinion, colorism, because they bear the brunt of it. Now, that's how colorism affects black women. But I believe colorism affects black men, but in a less harsh way, right? It doesn't affect black men as bad, which is why I believe black men find it so difficult to realize why bashing their female counterpart openly is not a good idea. And I think because colorism does not affect black men as bad, it's also the reason why I believe they typically deny the existence of colorism, right? The way colorism affects black men is that black men essentially end up being viewed as what I call the big black brute. Now, what does that mean, right? The whole idea of the big black brute is that you are supposed to be this mindless, muscle-bound dude who has no intelligence, and you're just out here trying to rape non-black women. Let's be honest about that, right? That's how black men are viewed, okay? And so what this means is that people are going to be what it means, right? People are going to be much more likely to find you guilty of things, and also means people are going to be much more likely to use violence against you, right? AKA police brutality, right? That's how black men face colorism. But here's a caveat. Because black men are men, right? Their biggest attribute is resources. See, when it comes to women, right, a woman's biggest attribute is, their beauty. And because colorism right, makes it very difficult for black women's beauty to be recognized, this is why they face so many challenges, right? And why I believe they bear the brunt of colorism, right? But when it comes to black men, when it comes to black men, right, a man's biggest attribute is resources. So what that means is that black men are able to, in many ways, I guess, compensate for colorism in a way black women cannot, right? Yeah, you may be viewed as a big black brute, but if you got enough resources, you may be able to convince a non-black woman to give you a time of day. And so because black men are able to, use resources and use other means to compensate for colorism, right? This is the reason why they downplay, because, it doesn't affect them the same way. But here's what black men are saying. Just because you're able to use your resources, money, right, to compensate for colorism doesn't make it go away. In fact, it is ever present. And the moment, and I mean the moment you slip up, the moment you say something wrong, the moment you do anything that is out of line, they will check you and put you back in that big black brute category, aka Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Major was a black major, right? This guy was blown up in Hollywood, right? He had a white girlfriend. But guess what? The moment his ex-white girlfriend accused him of annihilation, white people teamed up. They got on call and they sort of ripped it apart, right? He got cut off from all kinds of brand deals. I'm like, even Dana White didn't. Now keep in mind, right? When white men are accused of stuff, when white men do things, white people get on code to protect them. Alec Baldwin literally killed someone on set, and he's literally and people came out to defend him, and I believe they dropped all charges on him, right? I believe so. Jonathan Majors gets a single out allegation, and white folks are coming together to tear him apart. Brand deals being cut off, roles being removed, right? And he's already being he's being charged, right? And on top of that, he's already being painted as a bad dude. That's how colorism hits black men, right? Black men are able to use their resources and their wealth to circumvent it, right, long enough. But what happens is when the moment they slip up, the moment they fuck up, right, they will get checked. They will go right back to being the big black brute and be treated that way. Which is why I believe why colorism, although black women bear the burden of colorism, I feel like colorism in many ways is more fatal to black men. Because black men don't see. It's like Jonathan Majors, right? Because they're able to circumvent into so many means, right? They don't really take it as a serious threat. They don't really see it as much. And so when it finally affects them, they don't know how to react. AKA Jonathan Majors. I hope he's fine. I'm like, he's a good example, right? And this, in my opinion, segues into the reason why the Passport Bros and the SYSBM was going to fail irregardless. The reason why the Passport Bros and the SYSBM was going to fail irregardless, in my opinion, was because black men were purposely, once again, ignoring the reality of colorism and the reality of race, right? Anyone who understands that, hey, black people at the bottom of the hierarchy globally, right? White people at the top will understand why a black man going to a non-black country trying to get a woman there is not going to end well most of the time, right? And I told them this, right? I said, look, here are the reasons why it's not going to work out. One, because black people are viewed at the bottom of the hierarchy, what that essentially means that the vast majority of non-black people, right, do not want to be associated with you. They don't. They do not want their country to be known as a place where black men come to. They don't. Not. They very much will love for white men to come because white men are viewed at the top of the hierarchy. But they don't want to be viewed as a place where black men come to fuck the women. That's not going to happen. And the reason is now, folks are going to say, well, Hammer, white men do it. Yeah, because they're white men. White men are at the top of the hierarchy, so they can do that and get a pass. And because these non-black and because white people are at the top of the hierarchy, right? These non-black countries want white people to be, to invest in their countries. They want to do what they ask, so they will accommodate them. But when it comes to you as a black dude, because you're viewed as at the bottom of the hierarchy, they do not want to be associated. They do not want to be viewed as a place where the quote-unquote black males come to visit. They don't want to be viewed as that. Right? Let alone, they do not want to have black men fucking their women. And I told them, when you go to these countries, not only will you face immense racism because they don't want you to be there, but number two, right, when you actually get with these non-black women, right, they're going to make it very clear that they don't want you to be with the women, right? The family is not going to accept you. The society is not going to accept you. And even when it comes to the women, right, the women will go out of their way to remind you, right, that they have the leverage. They will go out of their way to remind you that you are at the bottom. Let's be honest here, okay? They will go out to remind you that. And I told them that that's what happened. And also keep in mind that, a lot of these countries, around the world, right, are industrialized and developing. So a lot of the women, though, are becoming more economically empowered anyway. So if you're going to these countries, you think you're going to get some submissive women, those are coming to an end. Okay? So keep that in mind. But when I was saying this would happen, I think almost like a year ago, folks won't listen to me. Now, what's happened is that recently, A lot of black men, of course, went overseas. And what did we find out? Because remember, guys, Austin Holloman, who was the face of the Paso Bros, Austin Holloman just recently came out and essentially admitted, right, that when he was going to these non-black countries, he met some amount of racism, right? And how these non-black women kept reminding him that he's not their man. And I told them this would happen. That when you go to these places, not only are you going to be viewed at the bottom of the hierarchy because you're black, they're going to remind you at all times that, hey, this is not your group. This is not your community, okay? And if you slip up, we'll check you. You'll get checked, okay? And of course, he said that, he gets that the only place where he gets treated fairly is Africa. I'm like, yeah, of course. I said that. I already told you guys that. If you're a black man, you're traveling, the only place you really be going to is majority black countries. I've said it multiple times because, once again, when you go to majority black countries, you look like the people there. And so it's easy for you to fit in. And in many ways, and because you look like people there, it's easier for you to get the same treatment. But you go to countries like Asia and South America, where first of all, you don't even look people there. Second of all, you're already being viewed at the bottom of the hierarchy globally, right? Then on top of that, those people don't want you to be with the woman to begin with. I'm like, you're setting yourself up for disaster. Now, I'm going to play this video of this black, a man, Paso Bro, and the interaction he had with this, woman, this non-black woman overseas. And this right here is exactly what I'm talking about. Let's play it.
Culture. And give you an example. You call me fat and ugly in front of people.
Xấu.
What?
I say you are ugly, you are very bad.
You really said that? All right. In my culture, in America, that's rude, that's disrespectful, especially when a woman says that about the man that she's with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I get in with my kid, my friend, you ugly, you ding khùng khùng. And in Vietnam, my culture is not far rude. But I don't know how is your country, and now you tell with me.
We could make, like, if we're alone and we're around family, we could make the jokes like that to each other. But in front of strangers, I'm a guest here. I seen one other person of my skin complexion here in the whole time I've been here. You're not accustomed to us, so when you say it, it sounds like it's an attack. Because we're not light or whatever it may be. I'm already a spectacle. I'm a black man in this country, and they're already looking at me differently because I'm 6'4", I am dark, and when you say, oh, he's ugly, you start feeding the stereotype that if you're light-skinned black, you're prettier versus dark-skinned black. It's very hurtful and disrespectful. People are already looking at me. How am I supposed to feel when you talk in your language and then you go, I say to her, you are ugly. I don't have any context. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know it's a joke. It sounds like it's a fact to you.
Yeah, and here's the reality, right? The non-black woman in the video was obviously gaslighting, okay? Because anybody who studies, East Asian culture, just Asian culture, knows that in Asia, there is this concept of having fairer skin, right? And the whole idea is that Asians are obsessed about being lighter. Now, folks will say it's colonization. I say, this goes way back before that, right? Because in Asian society, so what you would have is this. People who are of higher class nobility will typically stay indoors. Those who are lower class will be out in the field. And so, therefore, those who are in the field had browner skin. Those who are indoors maintained lighter skin. And so having browner skin became associated with being lower class. Having paler skin became associated with being higher class. So, the idea of being lighter, being better was already established in Asia culturally. Then you had European domination, which just made it even worse. So when you're a black man going to Vietnam, Japan, South Korea, you think they want you there? You think they're going to accept you? You think they want you fucking their women? It's like, I feel bad for the brother, but I'm like, dude, like, you should have known. Like, you know how racist Asians are just to black Americans here in the States. You're not gonna treat you better in their own countries? But it's like, this is why I knew the Paso Bro NDS war was gonna fail, because it's not based on reality. The reality is that black people globally are at the bottom of the hierarchy, and every other group is trying to progress with whiteness. And so any attempt at a black person to, I guess you could say, any attempt at when a black person tries to make an attempt to enter non-black groups, they will have faced a hard barrier, because you're going to be viewed as being at the bottom of the hierarchy. Look, it all goes back to the whole idea of the social pyramid, right? The people who are at the bottom maintain the foundation. Then you have everyone at the top. You're at the bottom. And white people at the top, everyone else in the middle. Okay? Black people literally are the anomaly when it comes to phenotype. Look, when you look at Asians, whites, Latinos, right? Arabs, every other group is close together, right? They either have the straight hair or the light skin, right? Black people don't have any of that. We don't have the straight, we have 4C hair, most of us have dark skin, and most of us have, very strong Negro features. So we literally are the anomaly of everybody else when it comes to phenotype, right? You're dealing with that already. And on top of that, you're at the bottom? Oh, hell no. Any attempt by you to even rise or even try to intermingle the groups is going to get blocked. Okay? And I think that's the reason why news and Philka, once again, is not based on reality. Okay? And this also the reason why the divestors thing fails well too, because once again, when these black women try to go to these non-black men, they got reminded real quick that, hey, these non-black men are going to prioritize their the women's phenotype over you. They're going to rank your black phenotype as being ugly or unattractive. Just today I was reading this comment of this white dude talking about how if it wasn't for genetics, he would get with a black woman. And I was like, what do you mean? In other words, he felt like the black women, he did not like how black women look, right? And he said, when it comes to black women, I think they're cool, but I like how they look. In other words, because black women have black phenotype, this white dude felt like that made them unattractive. And this is just like this is just the beginning of what black women gotta face if they even think about going to non-black men or think about dating outside of race. That's not even including colorism or that type of stuff, right? That's also the black female side, right? And that's the reason why the divestors thing was never gonna work. But when it comes to the black male side, right, what you gotta deal with is, one, you're compensating for your blackness. 2, those men are not going to want you fucking the women. And 3, even if you're able to buy your way in, if you do anything to fuck up, they will get you out of there quick. They will Jonathan Majors you. Okay? So I think that's about it. I'll leave it there. But I felt like this video just needs to be made because, once again, there has been so much content out here, bashing and attacking black women. I feel like it has gotten to extreme. And I think black men need to understand this. Look, trust me, I call out black women all the time. But I understand something, okay? No matter how many disagreements I may have with black women are still my female counterpart. Black women are still part of the black collective, black diaspora. And if I let another group of men, another group of people attack them publicly, they're attacking me too. Okay? And I think black men, we need to, until we can understand, hey, you can criticize your women while also not allowing other groups of people to attack them, I think will be in a good position. But with that being said, y'all, you guys tell me in the chat what you guys think about the video. Put your thoughts down below. Do you agree with me, disagree with me? And by the way, I just want to apologize. I haven't been able to upload in a while. I've been really busy with a lot of stuff. But I'll try to upload more, I think, in the next couple of days. Hopefully, if I find some time, we'll see how things go. But guys, wish me luck on that endeavor. I think that's about it. But yeah, that's about it. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Hammer out.